Good afternoon. This is Troy Moldy with the Pride Group, and I'm here with Jeremy Peterson. Jeremy, you want to say anything?
Hello, hello.
And we are doing our monthly outreach for the month of April 2016. And I'm going to cover a important topic that I get a lot of questions about: HUD inspection contingency and the earnest money refund. Important note right here: investors never get their earnest money refunded for any reason. And I should say I have seen them get their earnest money back, and the only one was when it was a title defect from the seller side. But other than that, I've never seen an investor get their earnest money refund. And quick little story on that: I had a property listed in the Twin Cities. Somebody had made an offer. The offer was accepted. We were just about ready to close. It was a cash offer investor. A couple days before closing, somebody broke into the property, took the copper piping, and actually stripped the electrical from the home. The investor backed out, and HUD kept the earnest money. So, super important when you're talking to investors that if they submit a bid and move forward and the earnest money is received, that for no reason will they get that earnest money back. So today we are going to be talking about owner occupants. So important note, we're going to be talking about owner occupants. So let's get into the contract here. When a offer is accepted and a buyer is signing the contract, this contract is the only contract that's signed. There's no state contract, so it's the HUD 9548 and then the addendums. This is one of the addendums. So you're not going to be sending in a Minnesota inspection agreement, which is very favorable to a buyer. I always think of a HUD inspection as you kind of got to earn your way out of it. And they talk about how one can get out of the contract and get the earnest money back, because after all, that's what it's all about, is getting the earnest money back. Owner occupant purchase. So again, it really defines it here. And one last time, if you're an investor, you will not get your earnest money back for any reason. Owner occupant purchaser may request a sales contract to be canceled if within 15 days of HUD's preliminary acceptance. So there is a time frame to get this done. My understanding of the 15 days is it starts when the seller signs the contract and it's emailed back to you. The property is inspected by a professional home inspector who discovers structural, roof, system defects, or non-compliance with local codes, zoning, or building requirements that were not previously disclosed and HUD elects not to correct, or within such 15-day period, the property is inspected for presence of radon by a professional radon inspector to an extent unsatisfactory to you. A copy of the property inspection report or radon test, as applicable, must be attached to the cancellation request. The cancellation contingency is limited to the structural, roof, defect components within the mechanical and operating system, which include electrical, plumbing, sewage, heating, air conditioning systems only, or non-compliance with these local codes, zoning, or building requirements. Kitchen appliances, window air conditioning units, light fixtures, receptacles, and switch covers are not included in operating systems. Equipment age or energy efficient ratings are not included in cancellation contingencies. The earnest money deposit will be returned to owner occupant purchasers, and this is very important, so I'm going to look at this here, and it's bolded, if you'll notice, to show the importance: only if HUD concurs with the home inspection report findings. So if you're going to cancel, you got to do it within the structure of what has been agreed upon with what we just went through. Um, if it was disclosed to you that the property has plumbing issues, and then your buyer cancels during an inspection because it has plumbing issues, most likely they won't get their earnest money back, because you already should have known that prior to your offer because it was disclosed to you. So make sure that you follow this if you are going to cancel. The second thing I'm going to go over is the earnest money forfeiture policy. And I'm just going to kind of touch base and go through a few things. There are different types of homes. You have insured, uninsured, insured with escrow, good neighbor next door, lottery. I'll go through that probably next month in my outreach. But let's go back. Owner occupants, again, it's not dealing with investors. The purchaser will have a 100% refund of the earnest money deposit under the following circumstances. There has been a death in the family, contract holder, spouse of children living in the same household. So it does kind of define that. There has been a recent serious illness in the immediate family that has resulted in the significant medical expense or substantial loss of income, thus adversely affecting the purchaser's financial ability to close the sale. There's been a loss of a job by the primary breadwinners or substantial loss of income through no fault of the purchaser. On a HUD insured sale, HUD or a direct endorsement, underwriter determines that the purchaser is not an acceptable borrower. Sometimes you'll have people, for example, a listing agent can't buy a HUD property, so if one of my agents was trying to buy a HUD property for themselves, they would be deemed to be a not eligible purchaser, and that would be canceled and earnest money refunded to them. On an uninsured sale, the purchaser was pre-approved for the mortgage financing in an appropriate amount by the recognized mortgage lender, and despite good faith efforts is unable to obtain financial financing in specified dollar amount sufficient to purchase the property for other good causes by the field service or by the field office. An uninsured sale, purchaser will forfeit 50% of the earnest money where deposit good faith efforts by the purchaser. There is an inability to obtain mortgaging loan from a recognized mortgage lender. On either type of sale, the purchaser will forfeit 100% of the deposit in those instances where no documentation is submitted, where the documentation fails to provide an acceptable cause by the buyer, failure to close, or where documentation was not provided within reasonable time following contract cancellation. Matt Martin Real Estate Management LLC must receive the documentation no later than the close of the business on the 8th day following the canceling of the contract. A lot of times what I will see people cancel on is they'll get a letter from their lender, and it will be a lender denial, and again, for owner occupants, the lender denial will be just say that the buyer can't qualify for whatever the reasons may be, and they'll submit that along with the cancellation. In my experience, if that's articulated, the buyers usually get the earnest money back. So those are the two ways that that a buyer can cancel, an owner-occupant buyer can cancel and get their earnest money back. Here again, we went through that, and this is attached to HUD listings, so you can always go, it's page 10 on their attachment, and you can go back and read through this, make sure you're complying with that, and then the earnest money here, if you want to go back, you can read through that and make sure that you're complying with that if a buyer wants to cancel. So that is it for this month's outreach. If you have any questions, you can certainly get a hold of me. Oops, I forgot to put my email here. And if you have a topic you want me to go over, have questions about something, certainly give me an email. Jeremy and I'll put that on our roster for an upcoming outreach. And I want to thank everybody for your time. Jeremy, do you have anything else that you want to add?
Nope, that looks good.
So that's it for this month. We'll see you guys next month. Thanks.